While we might think they are before they happen, in reality, most firsts really aren't that serious. First kiss? Nah. First job? Nah. First overseas trip? Nah. I mean, first game of COD for the night? Ah, it doesn't count, man. That was just a warm-up. They might seem like a big deal from the outside, and yes, I know there will always be outliers, but for the most part, when it comes to your firsts, you're more than likely overthinking it. Now, just because it's not serious, doesn't mean it's not important. It's just probably not important in the way that you think it is. There's an important aspect to firsts that's so much more than what they are or who they're with at face value. And that couldn't be more true than with your first car. What should I get as my first car? I'm tossing up between these 6 options. Good first car for under 10k. These are all questions I'm sure you've either asked yourself at some point or been asked at some point. I see them in the comments on my videos from time to time, particularly videos like this one where I talk about how a car can change your life, and it can. But if you hold your horses for a second and take a step back, you'll come to realize your first car doesn't really matter. Well, it does, but the car itself doesn't. Let me explain. It's natural to put a lot of stock into your first car. I'd argue that most people do. It's likely the biggest purchase you've ever made in your life up until that point, so naturally, you want to be a little bit picky and a little bit cautious about what you're doing. You don't want to do it blindly, but trust me when I say you are 100% overthinking it. We've all done the endless searches on forums and YouTube videos and Reddit threads, maybe even Facebook groups, to gauge if a car is good or not. We want to gauge if it's reliable, if it's a bit fast, if it's cool, if there's a community with other owners in your area and if they're cool. But for your first car, I hate to be the one to sit you down and break it to you, man, but there is a very high likelihood that no one is going to think it's cool except you. That's not a dig, that's just life. I went into this deeper in my car minimalism video where I talk about age brackets and the whole wanker scale. But the TLDR is most teenagers are a little naive, don't have much money, and just want to play with the big boys, which again is cool. I was the same. The vast majority of teenagers definitely haven't found their style yet. They've only just started experimenting with their car, and usually you can tell a teenager's car from a mile away if you don't hear it first. Over in the States, for example, you'll likely be able to tell just from the type of car it is and the mods you see on it. Like, for example, a clapped 350Z with plastic dip black wheels and a straight pipe. But here in Australia, not only can you tell from the look of the car, you can also easily identify any and all drivers under 20 years of age by the bright red or green P plates out the front and back. And trust me when I say, first you'll hear the trumpet, then you'll see the plates, and well, the shoe fits. I, for a time, was also that guy. The Hawkeye I had as a P-plater looked mid as fuck. And of course, I wanted it to be loud like all the cars I would see at meets. So I chopped the resonator off my 2.5-inch single exit Canon and had a raspy ass, annoying ass little Subaru to drive around in. But at the very least, I wasn't running rep wheels. And you know what? I loved it. But we'll talk more about that later. I give this example and punch down a bit on teenagers all to say, just relax. Nobody, especially no grown adult with a car you probably envy, is even looking at you. They can tell you're a kid, they aren't gonna race you, and if your car is one of the few that happens to be tastefully modified, maybe you'll just restore a bit of their faith in the youth. But that's kinda it. For the most part, no one whose attention you want to attract will give you a second thought. You'll just be getting attention from other teenagers like yourself and probably your local cops. Now, I think this is the most important takeaway from the entire video. So we're going to cut the music for a second and you're going to actually listen up. If it hasn't hit you yet, I'm going to make things super clear. You might think it will at the time, and all my old heads know it's true, but your first car does not define you. So for the love of God, don't overextend yourself and get a loan for a car you just cannot afford. I know things like car payments are far more normalized in the US, and trust me, they are everywhere here too. But if you can avoid it, and I know most people can, you watch one too many Caleb Hammer videos and you'll hear every single excuse under the sun that is just blatantly an excuse and not reality for why they just have to have a nice car and can't afford something cheap and old that's like 10K. My brother, you definitely can find and afford something within your means, so please do your best to do that. Do your best to buy a car within your means, especially for your first car as a teenager. Because what fun is having a car you can barely afford and never having the money to modify or even use it? If you're just scraping by and missing all the hangouts with the boys, all the Macca's runs, hell, if you can't even afford to take your girl or low-key one of your boys out on a date, then you're just missing the whole damn point, my brother. You may as well have been born yesterday because you missed everything. That's right. It's never been about the car. The car is literally a vessel for the memories you make along the way. Yes, he did it. He said it. He said the thing. I think that's going to be somewhere in the title or the thumbnail. But this video is far from over yet. You've only just been introduced to this concept I am sure you've never heard of before. You know, something, the One Piece is actually just the friends we made along the way. Yeah, the older you get, the more true that really becomes. However, you didn't just think that meant to get anything as your first car, did you? Look at the channel you're on. We do still embrace life being way too short to drive boring cars here. So while you might just be overthinking it and maybe even looking at cars well above your pay grade, you should still get something that you like. The last thing you want is to be kind of depressed every time you sit in the driver's seat, especially if you are a car enthusiast or even someone who has a slight interest in cars like most of the other people here. And if that is you, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more, and leave a comment on what your first car was, is, or is going to be in the future. I want to hear those stories, man. I am genuinely nosy as fuck. While we're talking about stories, let me continue this video by telling you one. I've talked about my 2025 Japan trip before and the one night in Odaiba that led me to this photo and this video. But how about this jumper? It's a short story. I actually just saw it at that meet and bought it. But what's far more interesting is the fellow Aussie that I met at the booth, Jason, the founder of automotive lifestyle brand The Lowdown. He recognized my Aussie accent from a mile away, so we just started yapping, you know, small world, how good's the meet, the turnout, what an insane thing to pull off in a whole nother country, etc, etc. But you know what was crazy? I knew who he was, because I've been following The Lowdown since I was a teenager. But when we went to just exchange Instas, he knew who I was. He said to me, "Oh, you used to drive the Subaru and take photos, right? You'd come to like a lot of our meets in Sydney way back in the day." And you better believe he was 100% correct. Here's even a photo of my Subaru with a freaking Lowdown banner on it. And this then opened the door to even more conversations, and we've had a couple of chats even since January. I even went to one of their secret meets a couple of months back too. But here's the thing, the main takeaway. The Subaru did not matter. It was just an easy identifier. Well, when you're a car person, that's always going to happen. And even though it is an easy identifier, I still want you to remember your first car does not define you. Because in that moment, it could have been any car. What mattered is that I showed up. I had those past experiences. I was a pretty shy teenager and never really talked to anyone, but regardless, I was at car meets constantly. I was taking photos and putting them out there in Facebook albums and Instagram posts and sharing them in like the event groups made for the meets and just things like that. I'd see people with my photos as like their cover photos or on their Instagram page resharing it. It was really fun and a way to interact with the community. I wasn't known in the scene by any means, but I was there for quite a while. And it was really cool to see a little almost butterfly effect of my actions when I was younger coming full circle in a whole nother country as an adult. Another example of that, and of cars being easy identifiers, is with my mate Alex, with the R35. I know two Alexes, and if either of them are watching this, they now know how I distinguish them between each other. I met Alex with the R35 back when he was Alex with the STI nearly a decade ago, because, well, we were both in a Subaru club together. I did a photo shoot and video shoot or two with him because I thought the car was sick, and he was even sick enough to pay me a little for him back in the day, which was such a foreign concept to me at the time. It was also thanks to him I managed to get a fleet of every generation of GTR as my wedding cars a couple of years back. Come to think of it, I still actually owe him a shoot to pay him back for that one. But it just goes to show that it really is all about who you know. Getting yourself amongst the car scene can build relationships that you will have for life. It's a great environment for it too, because you already have a shared interest with everyone else there, so the ice is just broken. You don't need to be best mates with everyone, but just getting to know people and building relationships is so valuable. That's why I try to respond to as many comments as I can in my own YouTube videos. Yeah, it can be a little parasocial and we aren't real life friends, but regardless, it is nice to hear and see different perspectives. So before I get to my final anecdote, I promised I would get back to my first car, the mighty Subaru Impreza. And the best way I can describe that car and how I think all first cars should be described as is a great learning experience. That car was my pride and joy for nearly 8 years. I wouldn't have had this home if it wasn't for that car. I wouldn't have learnt how to do all of my bolt-on mods, how to change pulleys, alternators, clutches, radiators, how to customize my headlights, and even learn just how sketchy spring compressors really are if it wasn't for that car. Those moments are also part of the memories you're forming. Part of it is in the garage wrenching on your car with your mates or your dad, and the other part is out of the garage. The lived experiences, memories, and relationships you build because of that car. A lot of people, as they get older and their cars get more expensive, stop leaving the garage as much and start to completely forget about that second part, which amongst everything else is even more reason not to overextend yourself. It doesn't matter what the car you choose for your first car actually is, as long as it is something you like and something you aren't scared to take out and drive every single day. Because those memories out of the garage are likely what you'll remember far more than the car itself. The final story I want to leave you with to really hammer the point of this video home, and what inspired me to make it in the first place, is one of my grandfather, or my nundu if you also happen to be Maltese. But this isn't a story I can tell because I don't know it. So I asked him, What was your first car in Malta?
Morris, something like that, I think it was.
And how long did you have that for?
For 2 months or something.
2 months? How old were you when you got that?
Say 20.
So you had your first car you learnt to drive in Malta with the Morris.
Yeah.
And then you moved here a couple of years later.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember what the first car in Australia you got?
Station wagon Holden.
Oh, yeah.
1959.
Yeah, 59.
Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah? How
Yes.
long did you have that for?
Oh, for a while. Once we bought a Ford from, it was blue nice too, second. And it was perfect, beautiful too, as well. This is Mary, she used to teach her to drive. And when she broke an arm, she couldn't do it. So I drive it. Yeah, I used to like it.
Yeah?
She had a white steering. And she's blue, beautiful. Yeah.
What model, do you know?
What car it was?
No model, I don't know what the model, don't remember.
Yeah.
I bought it from the yard second, but I don't remember. Do you remember when you break the arm?
Yeah, I remember.
You don't remember? But when I retired, so I got that like a present for You know, I said I want a good car, and they told me Mazda, very popular, Mazda 6. I said, all right, we went to Margaret, Liverpool, and we bought it, 2007.
Was it brand new or was it used?
No, brand new.
It was brand new.
Yeah, of course, yeah, the whole lot, yeah.
Yeah, well-
and I ordered the shield, the plastic at the side,
Yeah.
so the wind doesn't get me.
What was the furthest you drove it?
Oh, we went Gerringong.
Yeah.
Gerringong. Yeah, we used to go Gerringong camping. Yeah, we were never scared to go that far to the entrance to the Gerringong. It was good too. Yeah.
Do you miss that car?
Yeah, I missed it because, you know, it's, I found it very comfortable car to drive.
Yeah.
And it was good. Yeah. I wish I still got it, but things change. Things change.
More than the car itself, he remembered the experiences. He remembered learning to drive in a Morris. He remembered the 1959 Holden station wagon he got as his first car in Australia. He couldn't remember the model of the Ford he got, but he did remember my nana broke her arm while he had it. He remembered the experience of buying a brand new car for the very first time at McGrath Mazda Liverpool in 2007 as a gift to himself when he retired. And he remembers all the places it took him, usually somewhere near a beach because of how much he loves fishing. But it's exactly like he said. Things change. Now, my Nunnu isn't a car enthusiast by any means, but there was one car he loves more than any other. His silver 2007 base model Mazda 6. A car that he bought new from a fleet dealer all the way back around 2008 and finally sold this year. It was a hard decision for him to make, but as his sight slowly got worse and worse, he couldn't really drive anymore and just figured it wasn't worth sitting there collecting dust in his garage. The thing only had 75,000 kilometers on it from the damn near 2 decades that he owned it. But even that was filled with memories. Whether it be all the before and after school pickups from primary school, the trips to camping spots down the coast, the trips to family Christmas, even the random Saturday trips to like a toy store. Hell, I even still remember the smell of the thing. It smelled brand new all the way up until the day he sold it. That's all shit that I remember fondly, and this wasn't even my car. And it definitely wasn't my Nunnu's first car. It was his last. When the right car finds its way to you at the right time in your life to own it, where it won't burden you in any way, you will appreciate it that much more. And if there comes a day you have to let it go, more than the car itself, you will miss the memories that came with it. Because seeing it go is just a signal that a chapter in your life is now closing. I officially retired my teenage years at 24 when I sold my Subaru. My grandfather retired all the years of me growing up with him, as well as a bunch of other things, I'm sure, when he sold his Mazda. So obviously he's gonna shed a tear when he sees it drive away, but that's just life. So long as we take care of them, our cars are pretty likely to long outlive us and be there in someone else's life to create new memories for them. We are always just the temporary stewards for these big hunks of metal that we love so much. So more than anything, I want you to remember what your firsts actually are, again, don't really matter. No one cares about the first girl you kissed. No one cares about your first job that likely won't even be on your resume in a decade from now. No one cares about the airline or destination of your first holiday. I am sure that one crazy thing that happened in the first couple of days of you being there is a story you will continue to tell, and it's something that is far, far more memorable. And no one gives two fucks about what your first car was or is going to be more than you. So just chill out, man. Take a breather. It doesn't matter what it is. Just make sure you drive it as much as you can, lap up that fresh new independence, and make some damn memories.